So my kids love to ask me about the story of their birth. And on Sunday, 30th of October, Cadence will be 9 years. And they asked me to tell the story at least once a week. So I decided, why not record it so that my kids always have access to it. So I'm going to be sharing the story of Cadence's birth, and whether I'm around or not, as long as technology exists, he will always be able to listen to the story of his birth. So in 2013, so let's start 2012, or even before that, when I was around 17 or 18 years old, I had some issues with menstruation and that kind of stuff, and I was told that I would not have kids because I have a hostile womb. This is owing to the fact that I was frequently hit in my stomach growing up. So I always wanted kids, but I never thought that I would have kids. In 2012, Cece was born, and she was my child because, as far as I know, I would never have kids. So little Princess Cece, half Pomeranian, half Maltese, was my baby. She had the best of everything. When Mick would take me on dates, and I would cry because I want to go back home to be with Cece. He used to get so upset. So that was the entirety of 2012 because she was born on March the 10th. Mick and I had a really, really good carnival. 2013. I remember feeling tired in February around my mother's birthday. We had a surprise birthday party for her on February 22nd, and I was just so drained and I couldn't explain this extreme fatigue. Some days later, I ended up taking a test, and I found out that I was pregnant. I told Mick, I was in disbelief because I've been pregnant before and I always miscarried like in the first couple of weeks and that kind of stuff because my body was just incapable of hosting the growth of an embryo. So it's like, yeah, I was pregnant. Okay, so let's see how long this lasts. This will end soon. But it didn't. And after my cousin's wedding, I think it was in March, I think it was the end of March, we told my mom, and that night Michael's mom found out as well. I had a very, very difficult pregnancy, physically, emotionally, mentally. He was due on October the 30th. He was breached 3 times. I was teaching at the time. I remember it was September 6th. The term had just begun. It was a Friday, and I was feeling something in my stomach, and I was co-teaching with a friend of mine who's a mom, and she was like, "Krista, you're having contractions." Now at this point, Cadence is like, I think I was 30 weeks or 20 something weeks when that had happened. And I was rushed to my gynecologist. I was warded emergency at St. Augustine Private Hospital. I had to be injected in hormones because, of course, homeboy was still breached. So in the event that they had to deliver him, the hormones would have enabled him to be able to breed on his own. It was the scariest and most expensive time of my life. One night cost nearly $10,000. So there were our hopes of birthing him at a private facility because we now went through basically all the money that we have been saving to have him privately. So from September 6th until the day that he was due on October 30th, I was then put on bed rest. So I was at home. Like, I was not supposed to be walking. I wasn't supposed to be doing anything at all. So I was on bed rest. The week before he came, so he was born on a Wednesday, the Sunday evening before he was born, I got really, really bad contractions. I knew what it was this time because I had experienced it before. And at that time, my father had mash up his car engine. And I always used to joke and tell him, like, if you wanted to take maternity leave with me, you could have just said that. You didn't have to mash up your car engine. So we had no transportation. Michael's car had gotten stolen 2 months before in front of the church. We never were able to retrieve it, and the car that I had bought had not arrived in the country as yet. So Sunday, Daddy had to call on one of his best friends from Tumpuna Road, who would now have to drive me to the hospital in San Fernando. I went to San Fernando because at that time Mount Hope was killing everybody, and my father's friend was the head matron at San Fernando. So I was boarding on Sunday night. I had contractions 2 minutes apart from before I left home to when I got to the hospital, all the way into Wednesday morning. I was never induced. I was stuck at 2 cm dilated from Sunday to Wednesday. I was not induced. I remember Wednesday morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, calling Michael, calling my father, begging them to just please take him because I was in so much pain. They had given me the enema. And the nurse had said if I didn't dilate further by morning, they would have to induce me. In the morning when the doctors came to check, I had dilated to 4 cm and then I think to 6 cm. So they moved me into the birthing room. Now, all of this time I am terrified because the day before, a woman came in to give birth to twins and one of the twins died. And I didn't have that really type of relationship with my mother where I could ask her about my concerns and my fears in terms of the entire pregnancy or in terms of childbirth. I didn't have anybody to have that type of conversation with. I was totally clueless about what to expect, what was going to happen. So at 7:51, I was put up in the stirrups and stuff. I was pushing. I pushed from 7:51 till after 10. No progress. He wasn't coming out. I was in a lot of pain. I remember blacking out at intervals because I cannot remember the entire delivery. And then at 10 o'clock, my godmom, Daddy's friend, the head matron, she got to work and she started to turn the place upside down. Because why is her goddaughter pushing since 8 o'clock and it's now 10 o'clock? She has not been induced. She has not been rushed into an emergency C-section. You all have her here pushing. All of a sudden, people remember what they were supposed to do. There were about five nurses and 3 doctors around me trying to figure out what should we do, what should be our next move. Right. So he was in distress. He had already passed fecal matter in me. So the doctors made a decision that they're going to ask me to push again, and if I push and he does not come out, he will need to be delivered via forceps. I pushed and he did not come out. They also had to break my water with a probe that was like almost 2 feet long. The entire experience in itself was so traumatic. So there came this forceps looking like a tongs, and I'm like, ain't no way that that's what's inside of me. They stuck it up inside of me. No episiotomy. They just stuck it up in there, and they asked me to push one more time, and they tugged on it until he came out. He was the whitest baby I've ever seen with the blackest scrotum ever. Of course, Michael is dark skinned, so this is to be expected. And his scream was so loud. They had to take care of him right away and remove any feces that would have been in his mouth and put him under something that looked like a microwave cover. They told me that they were giving him oxygen. I remember blacking out a couple of times. The times that I was conscious, I remember being told that, oops, we kind of rip you from the front straight to your butt and you are going to be needing emergency surgery right now. So they put piece of gauze, rolled up the size of a toilet paper roll inside of me, and I was rushed into emergency surgery. I got to see him. I think they put him on me for like a couple of seconds, and then they took him back, and then they rushed me into emergency surgery. From the birthing room, there's one room, then there's a corridor, then on the other side of the corridor is the theater. I remember glimpsing my mother. She was waiting there. So I got to see her for like 5 seconds. I was really, really out of it, and as I was rushed into theater, now I am so scared of anesthesia, like completely terrified. And I just remember getting the gas mask on my face, and they told me to come back from 10, and they operated on me. Then I was put back into the ward. I remember when I woke up, the first person that I saw there was my uncle Frederick, and I was asking for him because, you know, people steal babies in hospital and shit, so I just wanted to make sure that it was the same face that I had seen, and there he was. And as traumatic as it was, I nearly died, and he nearly died. I would do it all again to give birth to such a sweet, loving, caring, selfless little boy. He is hands down the greatest thing that has ever happened to me. And if I had to do it exactly the same way again to bring that sweet little boy into the world, I would do it in a heartbeat. Cadence, I hope you see this video one day, and I hope you know how much your mommy loves you and how happy your daddy and I are that you are here, and God has kept you for 9 years. I can't believe that I am the mother of a 9-year-old, and next year I will be the mother of a child in the double digits. Cadence didn't come through unharmed. He had a swelling at the side of his head. He still has it. We are still not sure if it's fluid or if it's a growth, but we monitor it. Sometimes it's up, sometimes it's down, sometimes he's in pain. We don't stress him too much, and he also has a heart defect, but other than that, he is in perfect health, and he doesn't let it get him down. You know, he is so strong and he's so resilient, and he's an encouragement to me to just constantly just strive to be the best person that I can be for this little boy. So on that note, happy 9th birthday, Cadence. Mommy loves you so much, and I forever will, and I will do everything in my power to make sure that I can give you the best quality of life and afford you the best experiences and the least amount of trauma, and that I seek therapy for my trauma so that I don't pass that on to you. Please know that you are the best thing that has ever happened to me. Thank you for making me a mother. Happy 9th birthday, baby.